go! Video games.
What up, dudes, and welcome back to the YoVideogames podcast. I'm Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And once again, thank you to all our generous patrons who kept us going for 318 episodes.
Yeah, if you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Due to the week is BoJack.
Thank BoJack.
It's Universal BoJack is his username on most everything. But we've known BoJack. Well, I've known BoJack for like 15 fucking years.
Yeah, very long time. And he's got a million nicknames. It could be BoJack, Universal BoJack, or many other
Fab
nicknames.
Fabrizio.
I don't know if I've heard that one, but
yeah, what's the Freaky Artist Boy is what Fab is short for.
Fab, Freaky Artist Boy, yeah.
And I remember that story is from he was at a con and he was drawing like women with giant titties and shit, and some guy went, "Hey, Freaky Artist Boy."
Well,
And
I mean,
wanted
one.
He
is a man of culture, so
he is a man of culture. He loves them anime titties. Yeah, he's got a ton of nicknames. But he's also been a dude since 2018. So love you, buddy. Hope you're doing good.
I'm glad he's here for this episode because it's definitely an episode he could probably reminisce a little bit with, because we're gonna talk about like the sort of talk a little bit about the death of E3, which we've basically been sitting here like vultures, like counting down towards for almost as long as this podcast has been going.
The thing is I wouldn't say we've necessarily been hyped about it. Like
not hyped, but we just kind of predicted it. We just kind of like it's.
I love going to E3. I have always loved going to E3.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun, positive memories of E3 with BoJack even. But yeah, it's
been having rough times, and since it doesn't look like pandemic is or lockdown is slowing down, and given their press release, I don't think it's happening. I think it's dead.
Yeah,
it's officially super dead.
I think it's run its course.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the nice corporate way I've been saying it is like, I think it's kind of just run its course, which a lot of people would disagree with, but like we'll get to that. We'll get to that anyways. But we should probably also not make sure we mention too that we have actually a sponsorship, which is still something somewhat relatively new for all the episodes that we've done.
Yeah, it's and it's also just the perfect time of year. New E3, dead E3, but you don't have to be.
E3 might be dead, but your balls can be fresh and alive.
Actually, E3 is like the main time we would have been using the shit out of Manscaped ball wipes. Quick run to the bathroom, make sure your balls are still fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
You don't want to go to that meeting room, sit down in a closed little, because they make all those little makeshift tiny offices where you meet behind closed doors, and then you have to sit down and you got like swamp crotch, and it's just sort of like permeating and percolating up into the air.
And then every time you move and your jeans get a little damp. I don't know if that ever happens.
Jeans or corduroys, whatever you're wearing, just
it gets all humid inside of E3. Oh my god. Yeah, no. Manscaped makes the perfect products for that stuff. You can kind of do the whole deal. You can go from head to toe, even your lips. It's got beautiful, supple lips. I don't use shampoo a lot, obviously, but
I do.
You do. You go because you have beautiful, long, luscious hair. It's sort of bullshit. Within 6 months, you can have fucking long, beautiful, model-esque hair, and within 6 months, I look like a dude going through a divorce. So it's just,
you've got that Kane and Lynch 2 or that Max Payne 3 thing going on.
It's rough shit. I'm hoping against hope that once I'm fully back in shape, I'll age kind of like Stanley Tucci or like J.K. Simmons. I'll still bald, but god damn it if I don't have some daddy energy.
But you know what? I like the shampoo, and it works very well for me. So
yeah, what I'm saying is it's a good way to substitute that daddy energy. You have one continuous smell from your hair all the way down through your balls. And it's new year, new you. They've got body wash
because,
and shampoo, conditioner.
Exactly, and the way things are now are pretty bad, but they're also supposed to go burst very quickly. So we're gonna hopefully get to the new year, and you're gonna start going to places, maybe going out a little bit, in a couple months. So you want to be smelling your best. You don't want to be smelling like you've been isolating, like a dank, like an ugly, smelly bear in a hole in the ground.
And I have to imagine with Valentine's Day isn't that far away, and so
That's
you're
true.
gonna want to start getting your game going now.
That's right.
I don't know how weird Valentine's Day is gonna be, but maybe you can invite someone over who is ideally vaxxed to test shit out with.
That's right.
Get a little weird.
Vaxxed, waxed, and ready to climax.
Oh god damn it! That's why they pay us.
Yes, exactly. So,
but yeah, no. If you're
we're not
interested
saying
in
you
checking,
have to go the full. You yourself don't have to go the full wax route. You can just have a nicely, neatly, very thinly trimmed nutsack with the lawnmower 4.0.
Can I ask you a serious question? You ever done a man style landing strip? Landing strip's super hot on a lady, but you just run like a brohawk from like the shaft to the belly button.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? The cock hawk?
Nah, cock hawk. Yeah. Does that mean you put product on it, or do you just kind of like?
You know what? I'm thinking about it now. I'm considering it now.
If you're a natural redhead, it's going to look like a fucking rooster.
I don't think there's anything sexier than just a natural redhead with a mohawk. What pants could you wear to keep? No, it's kilt. It's all kilt. That's the only way you're going to get like breathability down there to keep the hawk proper. Otherwise, it's just plastered to like one side, and then it just looks like you jerked off before you came out and just left it all over your belly. You sick fuck.
Yeah, so you don't want to have a limp cock hawk. So you want it to be fresh and ready to go.
And if you're looking to try some of these products, we've got your back. You can use the code YoVG, all caps, for 20% off and free shipping on all the products on manscaped.com. If you want to go big or you're thinking about a gift, like I did for my father-in-law, you can get the performance package, and they literally cover you head to toe. You get a shirt and boxers, surprisingly comfortable boxers.
In fact, you might want to jump on it, and if any of the ladies are listening, jump on it now for your man, or if you're a gay man as well, you might want to get on this gift giving now so that they're ready to go on Valentine's Day. You get what I'm saying?
I think every single one of my gay friends would admit that if they were given grooming products by their partner, they might kill their partner.
See, you give it early. You just sort of like, hey, look what showed up in the mail today, honey.
Hey, babe, I'm thinking about your balls more often. Yeah, all right. I guess weigh in on that.
I mean, don't do it in the, that's not the thing you want to open up, in the middle of a BJ's, or an Olive Garden. No, that is the most
appropriate place, yes.
Oh, okay.
If I'm going to be given this as a gift, I want it in the middle of a BJ's, or I want it in an Olive Garden the moment I put a breadstick in my mouth.
Perfect because he looks, you just...
Yeah. I think that's exactly what I want. Speaking of anticipating getting your dick sucked,
you don't want to. Just saying, you don't want any hair in your food.
Our episode today is all about anticipation. We have a pretty cool year coming up, and just before recording, we were kind of getting hyped up about like some of the games that we're looking forward to this year. And while last year was our DLC year, there were good games. There were still great games, but it probably wasn't gonna compare to like say your 2017 or this year. 2022 looks like it's gonna fuck, and we got to do an episode where we kind of talk about just like the games we most anticipate.
Or we could also just take the generally accepted most anticipated games, and we can kind of like give you our kind of feelings and thoughts on them kind of as we go down the list,
Oh, I dig that too. I do dig that. I do think we should talk about, if we're going to talk about anticipation, we should talk about Jeff Keighley and how he's anticipating
that was so
skull
good.
Fucking the corpse.
Okay.
That is E3.
so okay, I'm going to pull it up because I think I had it on on my I think I tweeted or retweeted, tweet replied, whatever it was, quote tweeted it, because it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, so basically E3 put out a statement on Twitter with a press release attached, that basically said, hey, due to Omicron, concerns, we're not going to have a physical E3, this year.
I think we should point out that the first year that they canceled due to COVID, totally for COVID, they waited until the absolute last minute to do so. This time they're doing it 6 months out when there's going to be like 3 more variants.
Right.
Yeah, they're definitely canceling this because of Omicron, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Don't worry about it.
Well, here's the funny thing, because every news story just said E3 shifts to online only because of Omicron concerns. Here's the statement: the Entertainment Software Association is shifting the electronic entertainment industry to online. Oh, they did say it was an online only, but I'm not concerned with the pandemic. Due to the ongoing, E3 will not be held in person. Oh no! Here's where it's crazy. What I'm reading to you is not what the ESA said. That's in the news headline. Here's what the ESA said. To quote the ESA, due to the ongoing health risks surrounding COVID-19 and its potential impact on the safety of exhibitors and attendees, E3 will not be held in person in 2022. And then they nonetheless, and then followed up to GamesBeat, we are nonetheless excited about the future of E3 and look forward to announcing more details soon.
Oh, okay. So they might actually have a digital. Jeff Keighley's
so a lot of people jumped
balls.
in, and this makes a lot of sense because I've actually, I've been involved in the running of these events. And Mike Futter, he's whatever checkmarked is on Twitter, whatever good that's for, or whatever, founder, business analyst, consultancy agency, whatever. He was in, and I 100% agree with him, by the way, on this. He said, this is spin. He says, Mike said, I heard from sources in mid-November before Omicron's emergence at the end of that month that the ESA had abandoned their dates for the LACC, LA Convention Center. The ESA's event last summer was not good, and publishers have learned they don't need to pay exorbitant rates to the ESA to reach press and consumers, which absolutely makes a lot of sense to me, because you don't decide this 6 months out. Like when you're planning an event, especially the size and scale of E3, and with the big businesses involved like Microsoft, Sony, well, it's not Sony, but Nintendo, yada yada. You plan that shit at least a year in advance. Yeah. By January, you would have your booth space picked out. You would know where your booth is, and you would know how much square footage is, because you're now hiring architects and other companies to build that booth, and you're basically like approving designs for it. You're way into the process of getting the ball rolling. You don't just suddenly go, oh, I think things are looking a little risky, so we're just going to call the whole thing. No, they knew this was not happening, and they've known it probably, like at one person had said, like they've known at least since November that it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, that's kind of a rough situation, because I know a lot of events, even ones that I was dealing with at my job, they were kind of on the verge of getting canceled all the way up until they didn't get canceled. And some of those decisions were made like less than a month out. But all the money was still being spent.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Schreier chimed in, and he was like, sounds like E3 is all but dead. Can someone else come up with an excuse for everyone to go to LA in June? But he says, by the way, I 100% believe Mike Futter is reporting that the ESA gave up on E3 months ago. He parenthesizes, there would have otherwise have been dates on their website, which is what I was saying back in December even, and November. I was like, they don't even have dates. This is gave up on E3 months ago over the PR fluff piece that hit today. No way this is a knee-jerk reaction to Omicron. It's E3 throwing in the towel.
Oof.
So, yeah, that I'm trying to find I'm trying to find the name of the analyst who pointed it out first, who I thought was dead on when they were kind of like, they didn't actually say anything about a digital event. They never even used the words.
And I mean, the thing is, again, nobody is celebrating that a video game event is dead. It's just that the ESA is just a really terribly run, probably very corrupt. I have no necessarily like definite evidence, but it is a terribly run organization. Maybe maybe it was just poorly run because of the realities of how video games exploded, and I can't speak to that, but god damn, it was so bad.
Yeah, there. One reporter, Rebecca Valentine, said, "Well, what can you do? I've been investigating this for the last few months. Multiple folks told me that their understanding was that the physical event had been quietly canceled months ago, and the ESA can't confirm the digital event even now, 5 months out."
That's rough.
So yeah, they didn't confirm any digital event. They just said stay tuned for announcements. Yeah, I think that was
the real unfortunate part of it. And it hasn't necessarily been talked about by us, but like the real downer and downside of it is there's a lot of people who won't get that job this year, who didn't get that job last year. Event staff and shit like that. And that is an actual bummer.
Well, yeah, because there's like a local economy that's hurting. Yeah, and she further clarified to clear up confusion. Rebecca Valentine said the ESA said absolutely nothing about a digital event, and when pressed, they couldn't confirm one. All they said was the in-person event was canceled. This does not rule out a digital E3, but as of now, one has not been announced, and no dates have been given. Just to sort of nail that in the coffin. So. But yeah, you're right though. I mean, this does shit on, the local economy of it all.
Yeah.
So the army of people that would build these booths and staff these places and security, and just LACC staff in general, they're all pretty much not. I mean, they've probably been out of a job. So. But it's also
probably had some real tough times.
Yeah, so it's also kind of sucky because there's no job returning to them anytime soon. And as you had implied earlier, Jeff Keighley tweeted out within I want to say the hour or few hours of this announcement from the ESA, Jeff Keighley just tweets out an image: Summer Game Fest returns summer 2022.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley here to suck the fart out of that beautiful corpse ass, I guess. I don't know. He's the thing is like I don't know him personally or anything, but like I actually think dude's a hustler. Like I have actual respect for how much work he puts in. Like if anybody told me he was lazy, I'd be like, you're the dumbest motherfucker alive, because Jeff Keighley puts in work. But
he is definitely being an opportunist on this. But the thing was, is let's not forget. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, because the E3 didn't happen for 2 years now. But there was a point where I think it was for 2020, before when people were still huffing down all that fucking hopium about it being gone by. It'll be gone by Easter.
I'm sorry.
It'll be gone by
hopium. Are you making fun of my religion? What is the hopium of the masses?
It's the new meme word. Hopium and copium. But everyone was sucking down hopium in early 2020. It'll be gone by Easter. It'll be gone by summer. It'll be like a bad dream.
It can't survive the heat.
It can't survive the heat, right? So when everyone was sucking down that hopium, do you remember when Jeff Keighley came out and said, "I have decided to no longer work with E3"? He says, and he basically said like they have. I have disagreements with their visions and plans. Basically, he pulled a creative differences thing on it.
Yeah.
And then there was all that leakage about how they wanted to have this really like weird, scummy, like, way in which people are going to like get involved or like be sort of, God, it's funny because it feels like it's been forever ago now. But do you remember how there was the leaked document showing how they wanted to change E3, as a big public event, and how scummy the whole thing was to be like this weird big advertising, and like cross promotional thing, and it's funny because I can't even off the top of my head think of the words, but it was basically like they were going to make you wait in weird lines, and then they were going to like basically do all these things as like basically surveys without telling you it's a survey kind of thing.
I am not surprised. I don't remember off the top of my head. I
mean, you can go back, if you go back like whatever years it was when we talked about this, because we did talk about it, and we did talk about the whole, leaked article and whatever. But like, and I'm pretty sure that's where Jeff bailed out, because as much as it, you'd say like, why would Jeff be so noble or white knighty about people's experiences at E3? And I'm like, because I think Jeff could also see the writing on the wall and how fucking poorly received that was going to be.
Because Jeff's not dumb.
Yeah.
Like, Jeff, like, there's a lot of jokes to be made about him, I suppose. But, like, dude's not dumb. Dude's not lazy. He knows how to put on an event. Like, he's great at events.
Let me see if I can.
Sorry, I have a cold, by the way. If I sound like horrid shit, that's why. I don't look.
Yeah, I'd have to like really dig it up, but I remember. Create paid member media partnerships with major outlets that exponentially increase the reach of E3 and exhibitors, enables ESA to control content and the message. Yeah, there was all like this weird, nasty shit about like, the really scummy thing was they were going to use people like how this generation is the most charitable generation.
Yeah.
And they wanted to like use that like as a research shows that millennials and Gen Z are the most giving back social good generations ever. By amplifying E3's social good brand, we can advance the industry's brand with consumers while storing positive, chits. That means chits for future. It sounds racist almost. I don't even know why.
Chits? Chits is like, denominate, like money.
Yeah, storing positive chits for future use, i.e. policy goals, next to negative video game story. Wow, they were like amplifying E3 social good brand. We can advance the industry's brand, the video game industry as a whole's brand with consumers while storing positive chits for future use, like policy goals and the next negative video game story. Holy shit. One tactic we can implement is partnering with influencers, celebrities, athletes, YouTube personalities who are passionate about E3 relevant social good efforts, for example, gender equality and STEM. Imagine an NBA champion global superstar participating in an E3 Coliseum conversation and or global movie star being part of the E3 digital ticket because it included social good components. Yes, this was what E3 wanted to pivot into in 2020.
I mean, I'm sure that's mostly some PR company that they hired, but god damn it.
I mean, it's the ESA watermark all over it. Like,
yeah, but they probably hired a PR company to, do that research and tell them. Big companies and stuff, they'd rather hire quote unquote experts to tell them
in
things
partnership with talent agencies, UTA, CAA, etc. Pre-book top-tier celebrities to participate in VIP tour and social media activations. Leverage celebrities' commitment to foundations and their causes. Leverage their commitment to causes. On-floor video game competition with the winner getting a donation to their charity. Honoring special guests of celebrities' foundations. So it's in one of their slides called Celebrity CSR Involvement.
Great. Everybody's so sad that E3 and ESA is dying.
So yeah, this was 2 years ago, and this is when Jeff basically said, "I'm fucking out. I do not like," and he wouldn't say any details, but he was just like, "I don't agree with the policy or plans going forward." And this was kind of like everyone kind of knew that this was from the leaked, internal whatever presentation that got out.
He was in a meeting and he was like, "Keeley means quality with a K."
No, but I think you're right.
Stormed out.
I think you're right when he made that statement on Twitter or whatever it was, like, not 2 years almost ago now, a year and a half ago, where it's like, yeah, he's not dumb. He knows this was going to go over very fucking poorly. And honestly, it was just talk about brand loyal or, brand goodwill. He knew it was going to nuke his brand goodwill to be involved in some shit like that. Like, just how fucking awful is that? Like, they're trying to exploit Gen Z's give back social goodness. They're trying to exploit celebrities, personal causes, and charities.
Well,
So,
part of the reason, and I don't know if this is the same article, but part of the reason that Gen Z and millennials are considered more charitable is that they're also willing to independently pay artists for their work.
yeah, wow,
And
imagine that.
companies across the world are trying to figure out how to leverage that desire to get, millennials and Gen Z to basically pay companies to essentially do nothing. Like they're trying to figure out how to make that happen, purely because like, oh yeah, they're willing to pay for things because we all fucking hate ads. We do. But before we jump into most anticipated 2022 games, I do want to recommend that everybody go listen to the New York Times podcast. It's like a deep interview with Phil Spencer, and you can get like some real insights into one, how that guy feels about like the future of Xbox and games in general. You get insight into like how he views the idea of the metaverse and how like games are basically already doing that.
Yeah.
You get to hear him talk about like his thoughts on the Activision.
Is this the one where he also kind of like denounced NFTs a bit?
I don't know. I mean, he definitely did that. I don't know if he does it in this podcast. I haven't listened to all of it yet. But it is interesting because they really kind of like, it's a full-blown conversation. It's not just like a quick snippet where like he's got prepared remarks. It's him actually just talking. And I think it's kind of interesting. I think, for whatever my opinion is worth on it, he's probably the most interesting CEO in games right now.
Yeah, because like everyone at Sony's like gone, which is weird.
Yeah, they're sort of faceless right now.
Yeah, whether they were kind of like known faces or not, like or were good at it or whatever. Like, there's no like like someone put down the list of all the people who like basically are just they left Sony or left their position or a different position within Sony Entertainment as a whole. And it's crazy, but because there's basically like there's no guy, there's no stage present,
there's no cult of personality anymore. Like, Nintendo
like
had
Shu
Reggie
Yoshida's like promoted out into God knows what part of it now, and Adam there was Adam something or other. He left to run Iron Galaxy, and yeah, it's crazy to me how much
has just full blown change.
Just like all these people who used to be, how do you say, like stage presence, right? They used to be like the guy you would see come out, and do the keynote speech. They're just not there, or they're promoted up, or they've left for other companies
or retired. I mean, Phil Spencer is the last dude. He's the last.
Yeah, it really feels like that, and it's weird because like I would have thought Doug Bowser was going to step up because it seemed like he was really embracing, the role that he took from Reggie.
And his name is Bowser. I mean,
his name's Doug Bowser, and he was actually very. He seemed like pretty cool because like I remember his very first. Sorry, that's Kenny. I remember his very first tweet when it was first day on the job, and he was like, it was this very corporate tweet, right? Like very, like headshot, yada yada, happy to be starting my first day as president, yada yada. But then everyone noticed, sort of out of focus, right behind him was this Mario and Luigi doll, and they were tied up with a GameCube cord.
That's great.
Like he had very subtly, like captured and tied up Mario and Luigi, like little dolls on the shelf behind him. But I'm like, okay, so he's like embracing it. Nintendo had that one digital E3 thing where they super embraced, the fact that he is Doug Bowser or whatever, and it was great. But like, he's been sort of like quiet the last couple of years.
Yeah, maybe he's just prepping to come out strong sometime this year. I don't know.
Maybe. And like I remember last year they had some big fucking directs last year, right? and it was back to Koizumi, and it was back to I want to say Shunya Takahashi, one of the other guys. It was back to them doing it, and I kind of know why that is. And here's a little inside.
They're legendary.
Whatever. It's because NCL doesn't trust fucking anybody. And trust me, there's a deeper, more sinister story. I wish I had the ability to find out more of, which we briefly talked about during the Metroid episode, which was, the alleged, allegation by an either current or I think former Mercury Steam employee who said that they weren't allowed to work from home during the pandemic on Metroid Dread because NCL wouldn't allow them to take dev kits home, which I was like, yes, but that's interesting because Monolith Soft was able to do that. But
yeah, that's right.
That's I don't really have any way to follow up or look into that because like very little has ever come out besides that one or two reports out of Spain. So it's hard to really say, but I can kind of tell you that probably the reason we don't see this big Reggie-like presence from Doug Bowser is because they're only doing those Nintendo Directs, and it's always with the Japanese side because I think NCL is pretty much like they're cutting and recording and editing. I kind of have a little bit of insight into how that's done, and trust me, it is as fucking few people as humanly possible are seeing those directs before they go live. It's actually like they treat it like they treat it like the fucking the football, if you know what I mean.
Yes, the atomic football. It's they clear the set before they record it. It's just like a guy sets everything up, gets focused, presses record, and leaves the room.
Yeah, that's the thing is like I don't know how the on-set stuff goes, but if you'll notice, a lot of times they're like, what did you think of that? That was great. Now here's something I think you'll like coming up next. Like they're very...
It's all pre-recorded, preset. Yeah.
Like on set, when they're doing something on camera, they're actually kind of like not... A lot of times you'll notice they're maybe not quite saying what they just announced. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't kind of thing. But here's one thing I do know, and you don't have, people watching.
Yeah, that's fair.
People watching you don't have you don't have to believe this. I'm not really backing it up with anything. I'm just saying that, like, from my understanding is that when they make a Nintendo Direct, there's an editor and then there's like a manager. There's two people and they're sitting in the room, and it's basically the editor making it and a guy sitting there watching him do it. And then that's it.
If you try to take any of this footage, I swear to God.
Right? Like, so, and apparently no one's allowed in the editing bay when they're doing this. And like I said, it's like the football. If they hit and they very, very particularly like hand it off or connect. I don't know the details exactly how, but like, it's a very scrutinized thing. Most people at NOA don't know what's going to be in the Direct. Like they'll get a heads up that a Direct is coming because like they'll have to tell all the PR people like, okay, get ready to retweet stuff today.
Get ready to retweet. That's your fucking job.
Right. But like they won't tell them they don't send out like a company-wide email and it has like the Direct in it. Right. And I've heard this from other companies too, where it's like, how there's always those leaked lists of like E3 documents, like, here's our announcement schedule. They don't do that. They never do that. They don't do it on purpose. Like, they have like one or two, like two people probably within NOA. They get the Direct and then they basically upload it probably to YouTube. And it's like, again, it's probably like an engineer and a manager.
This is all
uploads it, looks at it, and then just kind of like make sure it's fine.
This is all predicated on the idea that leaks even actually hurt you very much.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing. They think if shit like this, and shit does actually leak out still sometimes, but it's like these people act like if something leaks, like it's like someone like poured acid on their fucking balls or something.
Well,
like,
speaking of leaks, one of my anticipated games coming up, I mean, the entire fucking game leaked. Horizon Forbidden West like had the PS4 version of it. The entire fucking game leaked.
No way, did it?
Yeah, it was an older build of it. So it wasn't.
Shit,
There was
did
just
it?
a few. Yeah, there was a few assets that had that weren't included, but it was basically the entire core content of the game leaked, and it was out there for a little while. And
Oh no!
yeah,
Was it a physical copy or
it was a
like
digital. It was a digital copy, I guess.
Oh
And
man!
somebody had footage of it playing it up on YouTube and shit, and then it all got taken down, which is what confirmed that it was real, because a lot of people
Yeah.
didn't think it was real. But do you think that actually killed the hype? No, I'm fucking amped for it. And most
Yeah.
everybody that saw the footage was all like, "Oh yeah, it looks great on PS4 version. It's gonna look even fucking cooler."
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. Leaks don't do nearly as much
So,
damage as they
no,
think.
they don't. They really don't. And like I've heard it tried to be argued to me from company people why it's important, and I'm still just sitting there like, yeah, but no. Like, oh, it can hurt your bottom line, it can hurt your shareholders, it can hurt your stock value. I'm like, no.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if it leaked and it was a
I'm
total
like,
pile of shit, yeah, it could
if
really
something
hurt
leaked,
things. But...
the only thing that could hurt you if like something leaked that you don't have anything. Like if the leak was we have nothing and we're planning nothing and we have nothing coming, then it's like, yeah, that's gonna hurt you. But that's kind of on you.
and I mean, like, you know, your stock price can shift for the dumbest reasons. So it's like, you know, okay, you have a leak and people have a negative reaction to the leak. Yeah, it could affect your stock price, but you know, it's not like the end of the fucking world. But okay. What's your most anticipated game next year? And
okay, so
why is it the Harry Potter game, you son of a bitch?
No. Well, here's the thing. It's like, okay, we can talk about known announced games, and here's the thing. It's still January, and I've done this twice now on my streams where I'm like, guys, remember when Nintendo held a direct in February? Let's look at how many of these games were completely unannounced when they announced them. And it's like, yeah, like 80-90% of the direct. Even though I would say probably not the same this year because I think Nintendo has a stacked year already. But it's like, we're early in the year. You're still going to get announcements of games that aren't even known, might be rumored, might or might not exist, that are going to come out this year.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, like, we don't know everything that's coming out in 2022.
Which is so cool considering how many great things are coming out.
Right.
Like,
so it's already a stacked fucking year.
My most anticipated game it's going to be hard for me to choose because I mean you've got God of War, you've got Horizon Forbidden West, you have Breath of the Wild 2. Like it's very hard to pick like a most anticipated. And yes, I know it's not super popular to say right now, but I actually am still pretty amped about the Hogwarts bullshit.
I'll be amped to get that one used. I think that's why I got a disc PS. Literally was the reason I got a disc PS5 was for that game and anything else in particular like it.
Fair,
so,
yeah.
I'll just buy a used copy.
Actually, Ghostwire Tokyo comes out this year too. Finally,
correct.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's just run down this list here, and this is not in chronological order or order of expected release at all. This is just a list.
Fucking Windjammers 2 coming out.
The big one is Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's got everybody.
That's got actually. Do you know that's actually the most anticipated game? Like from pretty much any polls and gauges, which is. Oh my god, it's an open world.
It's epic as shit, man.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not really much of a Dark Souls person, but I actually kind of like what I saw in the beta for Elden Ring. And
I love the lore. I love the way they do, like, you have to investigate and piece the story together yourself. So I fucking love that stuff.
It feels like some of like my big issues are really the loading, and the time it takes to do shit. And that seemed to be kind of solved by the open world and by the NVMEs, the solid states of the next gen consoles. So yeah, like the way checkpointing and loading was handled in the demo for Elden Ring actually seemed to be like, okay, that actually solves my biggest issues with these games, and that is I hate waiting around, or I hate repeating shit that's not even a challenge anymore, and then it becomes just a sort of like
Slog.
war of attrition for patience, for running back to an area. So I don't know, like I kind of excited by what I saw. I think I'll check it out. I don't know if I'll check it out like right away, but like maybe whatever. Horizon Forbidden West, which is probably at the top of my most anticipated as far as announced games go.
It's got to be up there for me. It's either that or God of War Ragnarok are probably
Yeah,
the two.
I mean, it's funny because it sounds like we're sucking Sony's dick, but it's like, yeah, well, whatever.
That's fair. I mean,
yeah, whatever. These games were great.
Halo Infinite co-op, it comes out in 2022, and I am very amped for that.
I'm very amped for that. Okay, so Starfield is Microsoft's big fall game.
Yeah, how amped are you for that?
I don't care.
I haven't seen like a ton on it, to be honest. Like I don't.
Yeah, and maybe we'll say this for like next week, but I had a whole fucking Twitter discussion today on basically my coming to my realization of why don't I like Western RPGs, and
I like Western RPGs, and I like Bethesda RPGs. It's just that in the last few years they started doing this thing that sort of, well, I don't know if it's the last few years, maybe the last 5 years. They started doing this thing where like the protagonist talks to themselves to give themselves clues.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts, and I don't know why. I realize it's not the biggest thing, and like totally understand if you're all like, God, that guy's such an asshole for that being the reason. But like that annoyed me so much that like I think the last 2 Bethesda games, I got like a third in and just like stopped wanting to play.
I don't think that's going to happen in Starlight, since it's basically supposed to be like Elder Scrolls and Spice.
I hope so, because I love Elder Scrolls and I love space.
Yeah, so I don't think you'll have that problem. You might like it.
Starfield.
I have Game Pass, and I have trouble even envisioning myself. I try, playing it on the cloud. I played the cloud on Forza Horizon. Actually worked really well.
Yeah, well, you have gigabit internet. If I had gigabit internet, I'd go for it too. I have pretty fucking good internet.
Like you could kind of tell, there's a little bit of like bitrate thing since you're technically streaming. If you look real close, you can kind of tell like it's not, it's not hitting the cleanest signal. And then it's not even the cleanest 1080p, but it's pretty close. It's better than Twitch, but it's still like you're definitely still playing off a stream, right?
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like the response time was great, but. That's me with fiber internet in LA, so
yeah, that's fucked up, man. I want a little bit of that,
but it's like I can't even imagine. I don't know. I can't even imagine myself spending any time with Starfield.
Yeah, what is it that you hate about Western RPGs that like?
Or what do you want to get into it? Okay,
no. Let's stick on the hype train. Let's keep going with anticipated. Otherwise, we're gonna spend the last half hour of the episode talking about RPGs.
Yeah. So Dying Light 2 is going to come out, I guess, this year. I hope it does so I can stop hearing about it.
I haven't played Dying Light 1, but everybody, whenever I talk about like zombie games or horror games, people always bring up Dying Light, and I know I should try it. I just haven't.
And again, I'm going down this list. God of War Ragnarok. I think we're both very much looking forward to that.
Oh, yes.
And Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah.
I'm more tepid or more cautiously optimistic for Breath of the Wild 2 because I'm really hoping they do some big changes or some big changes and some big additions. Like the worst thing to me that Breath of the Wild 2 could be is that it's more of the same, or just like you have expanded abilities but it's otherwise the same fucking like loop.
And they're gonna no music, breakable weapons,
like the exact same durability on the weapons.
Yeah, durability is the word I was looking for.
Like it's gonna be like you'll have these little floating islands. It's basically just gonna be an expansion with floating islands, and that's what I'm afraid of. I don't think it'll be that. I think there will be dungeons. I'm pretty confident there's gonna be dungeons this time, but I'd be if there are no dungeons, if there's no changes to durability, if there's no music, I will not be anticipating the game anywhere near as much as I should.
I enjoyed Breath of the Wild 1. I wouldn't say that it's my most anticipated game, but
Just
it's anticipated. I'm down
considering how much better Breath of the Wild runs on emulator right now, it's kind of like,
Yeah, you think it's gonna run like shit?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah, I kind of do.
oh,
So,
no.
Gotham Knights is supposedly happening this year still.
Yeah, everybody's down with that.
Eh.
Everybody's excited by that.
I'm actually super fucking salty that both WB Montreal and Rocksteady's doing the Suicide Squad game, and Montreal's doing Gotham Knights, and I'm just super fucking salty butthurt over the fact I'm like, why not Arkham Beyond? Like, why are we doing this whole, like, it's a co-op Batman game. It's going to be a live services for the Suicide Squad. Fuck all that.
Yeah, that all sucks, but something that can get your dick hard is HBO Max is currently in the process of reviving Batman Beyond as a series.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, they're talking about it. Apparently it's got a lot of push behind it.
I hope so. But then again, that'd also be terrifying too. But like Arkham Beyond to me just is like, why? Why wouldn't you do Arkham Beyond? That feels so obvious. Oh God, fuck
I don't
you guys.
know why. I don't know why they don't go. Maybe Batman Beyond just wasn't as. Maybe we're remembering it as better and more popular than it was.
It was okay when it came out. It had sort of cult status. Like it wasn't actually a flop. It was actually successful, but it was sort of a head scratcher for WB because apparently its biggest audience was college age kids, and they couldn't figure out why.
Well, I feel like now that's the money. Like
they
college age kids are watching all the animation.
It was like it was getting ratings, it was getting views, but it was just perplexing the fuck out of WB because like, wait, why is it college? I'm like, well, because all the elementary school and middle schoolers who were at that age when Batman the animated series came out are now college age, and therefore they're still watching it because it's got continuity. Also, it's like super fucking dark.
Yeah, no, look, demographics don't grow up, dude. Did you not know that? Like they don't.
Yeah, right.
They stay the same. I don't like that. Change is bad.
It's weird too because it's like everyone loves Batman Beyond. You don't really ever hear about people saying, "Oh, I don't know." Like nobody poo-poos Batman Beyond, but like nobody within WB ever wants to approach it. Like, you know, for games, for movies.
It's got cult status. I could understand.
Yeah, and it's so weird because they just keep running in fucking circles. Well, how about let's introduce Damian Wayne? He was this like what? Like Batman has a son. I'm like, he has had like 3 sons. Why do we have 3 Robins? Why do we need to know? Well, how about this Robin was actually his biological son because he got roofied by Talia al Ghul. That's gonna be super interesting. I'm like,
they're artists. All I want is Blade Runner 2049 Batman, goddammit. Give me Batman Beyond. Just give me a live action Batman Beyond.
Yeah. And that was actually in consideration.
Give me Andrew Garfield as Terry McGinnis. I'll do it, all right? God damn it.
Oh, you know what? That's kind of crazy you say that because it would work.
It would work. It would work. Michael Keaton as old Bruce, and he said he's fucking down.
You know what's really sad because they had those Batgirl leaks and everything, and it's just. And the trailer even confirmed it too, where it's like, oh, they're going to bring Michael Keaton back. I'm like, as old Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond. And then there's like that, it's literally that meme of Anakin and Padme. Like,
yeah.
You know, I'm going to bring Michael Keaton back, you know, for the Batman films. You mean as old man Bruce in Batman Beyond, right?
Yeah.
Anakin just staring at her. You mean his old man, Bruce? No, they're going to put him in the fucking, oh my God, 70-year-old ass Michael.
There's a Michael Keaton movie out right now called The Protege, where he is very clearly playing a character that is supposed to be like 30 years younger than he is. He does great. He is so charming and cool, but all the writing and everything is clearly for a much younger cast. And so you're just like, oh, that's rough.
I mean, he's at like that perfect like Asian look where he could be just this great old man Bruce from Batman
Oh,
Beyond. But no, put him in a fucking costume because for fucking WB we're dumb.
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy is coming out, which is the only legacy that Warner Brothers wants to remind you of with Harry Potter, and not the legacy of its author.
Well, did you watch the Harry Potter thing on HBO Max?
No, I didn't. Isn't it just the cast members sitting there fucking talking,
reminiscing and stuff? Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's a little fun. You get to hear about the directors and how one of them broke ribs fighting Fred on the floor.
Wow.
He was trying to demonstrate that he wanted them to like get more physical, and so he came in and wrestled with one of the twins on the floor and accidentally broke 2 ribs.
His ribs or Fred's ribs?
His ribs. And he was like, and then for the rest of the shoot, I had to look like that dumb cunt that had broken ribs. He was like, great. For the Goblet of Fire.
That's the one that's the one I haven't seen. I thought that was the best book too. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, which I heard just got pushed back a couple months. Today even.
Did you play Stalker 1?
No.
See, I had never heard of that game, but like people seem to actually be like,
oh no, I saw that game because I want to say it's old. Like the first Stalker, Shadow of Chernobyl, I want to say it's like super fucking old because I feel like I remember seeing that in the EB Games I worked at in a big PC game box. Forever.
Maybe that's why I remember it. I don't know. I don't like the thing is I don't think I've ever played it, but I remember the name Stalker.
Yeah, I feel like I've been seeing that game my whole life. But yeah, like Stalker 2 is coming out this year. Gran Turismo 7 is coming out this year. I know you're very excited about that.
Hey, look, if you like the Vroom Vrooms, you're gonna fucking love that shit.
Yeah, Vroom Vroom. The zombie Rainbow Six Extraction game, woohoo.
Kinda actually down with that. I am. I like Rainbow Six. So
every presentation though has just made it look super generic. I don't know. I feel like Ubisoft's not done a great job of like showcasing the game. Even when they give long showcases, it's just kind of like it just looks like everything else. Like
the weird thing is I've often found with shooters like that, they tend to be surprisingly good when they don't know how to market them.
That's a good point.
So it actually makes me a little bit more positive about it than anything.
You know, and honestly, I'd say the same thing for Tokyo Ghostwire, because I feel like they don't know how to market that game at all. Which I'm still very curious to how that's going to turn out.
We're gonna see.
Stray, the weird cat and robot city game.
Oh,
I'm actually anticipating that. I would like to see that.
I'm intrigued by it. I don't know that I'm anticipating it.
Intrigued is a good word.
Splatoon 3, which I don't give a shit about, but I know several people who are like...
Several people will give a shit.
Hard.
I am not one of them. I have nothing against it. I just don't care. Great for the fans, yada yada. Golem.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about that at all. I wish I could even pretend to give a shit about that game.
Who is it for?
It's for all the people who have always wanted to know what that weird monster's like. I don't know. Are there people that want to fuck Golem?
I'm sure there is, but like...
I know not everything is about sex appeal, but like, you know, you give me a game as Aragorn, I'm kind of like, yeah, I can see why everybody would want to play as Aragorn, especially during his Strider days.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't fucking get it. Kind of getting down to like the sort of like, kind of
really. Look, I'm actually kind of down for Metal Slug Tactics.
Yes, it looks fun. Scorn, which I thought was already out, apparently is not.
I don't know what the fuck Scorn is, except
that's a creepy H.R. Giger.
Yeah, that's the only
game.
thing I know about it, and I am sort of anticipating it, but I haven't seen anything beyond the teaser trailer where I was like...
Because I think there's been multiple trailers, and they're all just the same, just weird, just creepy, ambient, like slow-moving panning shots.
Okay, yeah. Then
here's
yes,
some
I've
creepy
seen...
shit. What's the game like? Who the fuck knows? I have a feeling that one might end up just being like that one game that took place in hell, where it's like, well, it's disturbing to look at, but there's not much there. So I think it's I think it's in danger of becoming that.
Well, I fucking hope not.
Well, I think everyone hopes not. Silk Song for all you weird indie people out there whose kink is playing hard indie games.
Hollow Knight.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to this because they've not actually officially said anything about this game. Like Cuphead got its DLC because said, "Hey, here's the update at the game advertisements. It's coming out June 30th." Silk Song, I think, is still radio silent. So,
I don't know. Never played Hollow Knight. Evil Dead the game. Gotta be honest, kind of down.
Well, they've had Evil Dead games before and they weren't great.
I don't expect this to be great, but I'm still kind of down.
Yeah, maybe. Windjammers 2 is a big one. That's coming out like next week on Game Pass, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, Windjammer's just a good time.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't know what the Outlast trials are, other than that I played Outlast, and
yeah, we played Outlast.
Yeah, we did. Dick Bros.
Yeah, the Magical Dick Bros.
Magical Dick Bros.
That seems like it should be a VR game.
It looks like it will be, right? It had everybody in the goddamn poster is wearing VR. I don't know.
Yeah, right. First-person psychological horror video game development. Serving as a prequel to the first two games, it features test subjects in a mysterious Cold War experiment. Release. Yeah, Unreal Engine 4. Yeah, it's apparently nothing about VR, which is weird because it totally looks like a VR game, right? Yeah. So yeah, there's some other shit.
Digimon Survive, which is a visual novel, for anybody who was hoping that it would be like a Pokemon style game.
Yeah, you'd think it would be like some weird arc with Digimon or something.
I thought, but no. Salt and Sacrifice, another indie.
That much like Scorn, I thought that was already out.
I did too. I think we played it at like a PSX when those were still a thing. Didn't we play Salt and Sacrifice? I don't know.
Or was that Salt and Sanctuary? And this is like a sequel.
It might be. I'll check that.
Yeah, it is a follow-up to Salt and Sanctuary.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, cool.
It's a part 2. Okay. So we kind of have a little bit of an idea of what that is. Aiden Chronicles Rising, which apparently is going to be an action RPG prequel to Aiden Chronicles. So if you don't know what Aiden Chronicles, you probably don't, Andrew.
I do not.
It's literally not Suikoden. Because the people who made Suikoden wanted to make a new Suikoden, but guess who owns Suikoden? Konami.
Oh.
so
they're making a not Suikoden.
So they went to crowdfunding on Kickstarter and had Aiden Chronicles kickstarted and funded. And apparently this is going to be a spin-off game. I don't know. Like sometimes that happens. Like Bloodstained got a couple spin-off games that were very, NES style.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to get a little, I guess, action-y NES style prequel this year before the main game next year. Cool. Everything on Google's list, I can tell you these last 3 games are all in dev hell.
Like Citizen Sleeper?
No. System Shock, Diablo Immortal, and Pragmata, which Capcom already announced Pragmata is not coming out this year. They already said it's not going to make it to 2022. They did that in like an official tweet like last month. So those are like the known announced big games for 2022. And again, I mean, just to be a basic ass bitch.
What about River City Girls 2? God damn it!
Hell yes.
Forward
on that, by the way.
Yeah, it's way forward. I thought you were definitely gonna have that on anticipated games.
I'm definitely gonna grab it when it comes out.
I guess it doesn't count as a most anticipated game.
Not most anticipated. It's not. I don't want to downplay it or whatever. But like,
yeah, it's not. It doesn't have everybody fucking amped. Yeah.
If it was like Double Dragon Neon 2, I'd be a lot more excited.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
But okay, so just because there's a lot of shit wasn't on there. Triangle Strategy, which looks to bring back that Final Fantasy Tactics Ogre style game.
Love that shit. Love
speaking
that.
Speaking of Way Forward, you got the Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp.
Yes.
Kirby in the Forgotten Land, first 3D Kirby game. I'm actually interested. The Monster Hunter Rise expansion, Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. It's a brand new game, and Bayonetta 3. So Yeah, probably. It's
You're gonna
probably
see.
some. Okay, so for me, it's probably of announced games. It's probably some combination of Bayonetta 3, Horizon 2, and God of War Ragnarok. Because yes, I am that basic bitch.
And you're just looking forward to all the cosplay porn of Bayonetta?
Nah,
All those OnlyFans getting tweeted about their new Bayonetta costume?
I've
Made
actually
with
never
real
really.
human hair.
You want to know something like? And you're just gonna ridicule me for it, but I've never been sexually attracted to Bayonetta. Not really.
No, that's totally fair. Ever since you told me her clothes are made of human hair, I can't do it.
I just
it's
like the
not right.
games a lot. I love playing the games.
Gotta be honest with you, just
The games are a ton of fun to play, and I kind of don't care about the rest.
Fair.
She's got great animation, sure, like the animation's top notch, but it's like I play those games because they're fucking amazing games to play, not because like I want to see Bayonetta's ass or whatever.
You thought I was gonna ridicule you about not wanting to fuck a fictional
like,
character?
How dare you? How dare you? Yes, you do. It's like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's just not in my it's not in my blood, man.
So yeah, that's those are announced games. So yeah, like between Horizon, God of War, Bayonetta, those are my big games for the year. Don't give a shit about Starfield. Do give a shit about co-op Halo Infinite. That's going to be a blast.
It's going to be a great time. And I mean, I guess the thing is I realize Halo Infinite technically came out last year, but Halo Infinite co-op is the thing. I haven't played Halo Infinite at all because I am waiting for co-op.
Yeah,
and that
I played
is going
whatever
to be,
the hour or two, and I'm like, I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a great time with that. So it's probably I would be lying if I said I wasn't interested in Elden Ring. But my three
I'm
are
interested.
Gonna be Horizon Forbidden West, Ragnarok, partially Starfield. I gotta be honest. I'm interested in finding out whether or not they're gonna annoy me out of playing it. And then Advance Wars remake are the big ones for me.
Yeah. Anything unannounced that you want to see announced?
Ooh.
Is there anything announced that could? Well, I mean, there's always something that could like override everything. But is there anything like realistically they could announce for this year that you'd be like, that's the game?
No, not right now. I feel like I've really like been spoiled. I'm gonna be spoiled this year.
Fair enough. Yeah. If say we have a Nintendo Direct next month, which I'm expecting, kind of, and say they announce, say like, hey, we're gonna do a Xenoblade 3 in December, that overrides everything. Immediately, don't give a shit about any other game.
Well,
but everyone knows that about me.
I can tell you a pie in the sky game idea that I would really love to see happen. That I have, I don't mind if it gets stolen because I don't make games and I don't give a shit. I would love to see an Altered Carbon Cyberpunk video game.
I think you just want. I just think you just want the promise of Cyberpunk to be realized.
I mean, obviously, yes, but like the Altered Carbon universe is like it's perfect for a video game. You slip into other bodies, you fucking you know, and even if, especially if they use some of the other books instead of just Altered Carbon, but Altered Carbon kind of is the Takeshi Kovacs book that's easiest to translate. But basically every book he's literally in a different body. And it's like,
very Ghost in the Shell then.
Yeah, kind of. Basically your entire persona is stored on these little discs. And you can, so long as that doesn't get destroyed, you can live forever switching bodies. So like the ultra rich
inner universe intensifies.
Yeah. So I would love to see that. Like if that got announced, like it would be my most anticipated game period.
Yeah.
I'd be in.
Would be great too. I think Ghost in the Shell would like an honest to God real
Ghost in the Shell game.
Yeah, open world. And it's funny because like Mikami talked about that in his interview. You know, after he left Capcom, his two proposals were a big open world Blade Runner game, and then a smaller scale Ghibli inspired game. and both were rejected by Sega because Sega doesn't know how to make a correct decision to save its fucking life.
Yeah, well, that's why they're dominating the game now.
Yeah, that's why they're dominating the game industry.
They're just killing it.
Can you imagine that the guy who comes off of Resident Evil 4 is like, I have this proposal. I want to make either a Blade Runner open world game or just a Blade Runner inspired open world game, like in a Cyberpunk city future setting, and they go, no.
Yeah, just idiots.
Can you imagine telling that guy? I'm like,
the dumbest motherfucker.
I'm the dumbest fuck. I mean, if I was president of the company in like years, like even now, because it's been so many years since that happened, I would just be like, who made that decision? I'd be on the phone with like, who made that decision?
Make him wear a t-shirt every day that just says I'm the dumbest motherfucker at the company.
Fire them. Or get the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like shun them forever. Scarlet letter them.
They're the only people at the company that have to wear a uniform, and they either have to wear a jacket, a shirt, or a hat, or all three that just say I'm the dumbest motherfucker at this company.
I don't know. He might feel differently now because it's been so long, but it's like I feel like if Phil Spencer heard that, I'm like, Phil, he works for you. Go.
Phil, make him do this.
Ask him if he's still interested. Like, because like, please. I know, imagine that. Imagine getting like an actual good game designer on board to make what would be Cyberpunk, or what was supposed to be Cyberpunk, but now it's an exclusive.
And I mean, imagine if they somehow turned that into having like a Red Dead Online or a GTA Online style online component. It would fucking dominate.
Like, it's just, man, I mean,
make you a lot of money, Phil.
Part of me, like, man, if I interviewed Phil Spencer, that is actually the first thing I would ask him. I'd be like, are you aware of this one interview? I forget the name of the YouTube channel that does those really in-depth documentaries. I'm like, are you aware of the interview done to Shinji Mikami on this thing? I'm like, he spoke of two of his biggest, regretted rejections. I'm like,
oh,
you do own his studio. Like,
do it for me, Phil.
Do it for me, Phil. Like,
I have the most supple lips. I will suck your dick.
Ask him if he's still interested, because it's kind of like,
I mean, we just tweet him. We can do it. We can do interview.
I mean, it's been over a year now. Cyberpunk ain't coming back. I don't think there's any Cinderella story for that game.
Oh no, apparently it's quite a bit fixed up, and there's
Does anyone care?
I haven't gone back and played yet, but
exactly, that's kind of my point. Care. I'm like, I don't think there's a No Man's Sky happy ending for this game, even if it's fixed. I think too much time has passed because they still don't have next gen versions out.
They don't. Shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
wild. That's kind of sad.
Fucked. So I'm kind of like the ship kind of sailed for that game like a while ago. So
that is super sad because I mean, other than the fact that it was glitchy, I actually liked the game. I didn't think it was bad. I don't know, like everything I actually saw of the actual game was always just sort of underwhelming to me. I'm like, yeah. It wasn't anywhere near as like amazing as Witcher 3.
Yeah.
It wasn't kind of like
Witcher 3 is, you don't even have to like Witcher 3. And I kind of don't like the game. But like
it drags you right now.
It's hard to deny like how good it looks, and how
it's
how much they've put into it, like content wise, graphics wise, tech wise. You can't deny how nice it looks and everything, like, and how much there is to do in it. You can't deny that, like,
and it just really sucks you in.
Yeah, you however you feel about the gameplay or whatever, and I didn't feel anything for the gameplay. The gameplay actually kind of sucked, but
I liked it.
It's like, some of my friends told me, I'm like, oh, the game's great. The worst part about it's the combat, though. Just warning you right now. I'm like,
nah, there's a learning curve to the combat, but once you get it, it's pretty fucking good.
The combat's ass, that game. And like all the people playing were like, you have to play the PC version. I'm like, well, I am playing the PC version. You have to get this mod. I'm like, why? Because there's so much inherent like input delay. I'm like, why? Because Eurojank.
Eurojank. Oh man. On that note, actually, we should just do an episode entirely about Eurojank.
I'd have to start playing them. There's a couple of Eurojank games on Game Pass. I actually wouldn't mind testing some of them out.
Let's do it.
Greedfall and shit.
I have Game Pass. We can both play them, and then we can do a Eurojank review. 5 out of 5 Eurojanks. As always, we've got some producers to thank. If you're interested in becoming a patron at any level, please check out patreon.com/YoVideogames podcast. Dude of the week was Bojack. Thank you, Bojack. And our producers for this episode are The Arnett, Screwnami, Top 35, Hyper Viper 89, Hockey Kong 64, Ziggy Z, Online Persona, and Miles XVS. Thank you, dudes, and we will catch you next time.
Later, dudes.